Did
Okay.
we start with it?
Ah,
Well, I was caught off guard
are you
there. Okay.
ready? Oh, so you said
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah, I did say yes. I did, didn't I?
Well, well,
Stephanie.
hi, Peter. Welcome to episode. Wait, what is our Echoes of Understanding?
Of understanding.
Wow. Welcome to episodes. Welcome to Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete. We are two neurodivergent people who have been through our own journeys of growth and self discovery. As coaches, we have real conversations about life, personal growth, and seeing the world through different perspectives. We're all about nuance, empathy, and a lot of fun. Thanks for joining. Welcome to Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete. I
Mhm.
am Stephanie Ann Webb.
And I'm Peter Carrington. Or I'm Pete. You can just call me Pete. It's fine.
Yeah, I still call you Peter, but then sometimes I'll call you Pete.
Which I've noticed of late that you'll say Pete. And I think when I've heard you explain, like when you're not talking directly at me, but speaking about me, you refer to me as Pete. I
I
think
think
I've
it
noticed that.
depends what I'm referring to
Hmm.
because it feels more professional to call you Peter.
Yeah.
But yeah, but people sometimes people will say
Yeah.
Stephanie Ann. I'm like, I get it because that's what I put as I only put that as my name because when I
Yeah.
needed a website, stephanieweb.com was taken, so I had to put my middle name in there. But I just go by Steph because I'm whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
considering that I call you like all of your names and different combinations of them, I guess Pete and Peter is pretty
you like to play with my name.
mild. I do, yeah. Stephanie.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So I said to you, a topic that would be really great and
Hmm.
that's just so relatable is talking about comparing ourselves to other people.
Yeah. We just kind of did that, didn't we? I did.
We always do that.
Yeah, it was unplanned, unscripted. Yeah, I was just talking about the difference between you, how you treat my name, and how I treat yours. That's the first comparison of the day. Right?
Right. And you and I are Halloween colors together because I'm wearing black and you're wearing orange. That's
Yeah.
fun. I just thought of that.
Is there a sports team that I think there is? I think the Orioles.
I have
Let's
no
not do
idea.
that.
Don't
But I
ask
think
me
both.
sports stuff.
Yeah.
But the title that actually and you thought I created this. I did not. I asked ChatGPT and it
Hmm.
gave me the comparison trap.
Yeah.
I said that's a really good name
That's
because
fine. You don't ever have to tell anybody that.
did I ask ChatGPT?
Yeah.
I don't
Everybody
want to
else is
take
right
credit for
about
something
that.
that's not my
I mean,
idea.
I don't, but I don't use it that much. Well, I do, it's not true. I do use it uh when I'm bored and I need to know some things that are on my mind. Okay, well, okay, that wasn't a big, okay. Take two and action. I do use ChatGPT, but yeah, very rarely for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah,
Usually.
it's
Yeah,
nice to play with it.
it
Or when
is.
you're feeling really discouraged, I'm like,
Hmm.
ChatGPT, I'm struggling. And it's like telling,
Do
it's
you
so
say
nice to
that
me.
to ChatGPT? Do you tell GPT you're struggling?
Yeah, some day
And
if I'm,
does it say, does he or she say, or does it say like, this is not therapy or I don't give medical advice? Any disclaimer like that?
uh, to be honest, I don't know. But it just encourages me and it says here are some tools that you can use and
That's pretty
um
cool. That's right.
it just
Yeah.
kind of reiterates to me what I know to be true about myself. Because it
Hmm.
knows my voice now, right? So it feels like it's me talking to me.
Is that an audio exchange that you have, or is that
No,
yeah.
no, it's just on the computer. But because you get it, you teach it to know you. Anyways, we're
Hmm.
getting off topic like we do. Which is fine.
Well, I was getting to a comparison. I use Gemini and I can talk to Gemini. So that just makes it easier for me. I can just tell Gemini what I want or ask it a question and Gemini speaks to me.
Nice.
There's a second
So
comparison of the day. Okay. That
So,
didn't a big thing, but that was, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, comparison, you had brought that up, the comparison trap. You were saying.
I forget what I was saying actually.
So cute, ADHD neurodivergently yours. Yes, so I think you were just saying that you were exposing the idea that it wasn't yours, it's the comparison trap. And I was refuting that and or whatever the hell I was just doing. I don't know. But yeah, we start we I think it's a good subject, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
And one of the things, I think just because we're so constantly inundated with it
Yeah.
24/7. Well, not while
Mhm.
we're sleeping,
Mm.
but growing up in the 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
we had television, billboards, magazines,
Mhm.
newspapers, and just people in our sphere, which,
Yeah.
in all honesty, was overwhelming enough. But now it's it's gone extremely crazy because we not only have all that, we then have it on our phones. No matter what you click on, there's an ad or there's somebody's quote unquote perfect life online.
Mhm.
And it just can be if especially if you're not aware of it yet, you can just get caught in this trap of comparing your life with everyone else.
Very easily too.
And
Very easily. I had to unmute myself. Yeah, very easily. I think now more than ever, of course. Um, for me, I think the comparisons for me happened early in life in sports. I always think back to sports, and there's that competition. So there's this constant comparison. So it's kind of healthy. So it's kind of like cut into my neural pathways. But the other side of that, I guess, is the trap, is when you're comparing yourself to another person, not just their performance, but like who you are and what you do. Um, okay, like just like that, I lost my train of thought. Do you get what I'm trying to say, though? Like the comparison and competition, a healthy competition is fine. But if you're sitting there ruminating over it, right, and you're saying they're all that and I'm not so much, I think that's where the trap comes in. And for me, I kind of instantly know it. I may admire something in somebody, and that's fine. But if I start to envy I start to feel bad, and I'll notice that right away. And it wasn't always like that for me, but now I have that awareness, and I'll notice it, and I'll just call a halt and say, listen, what God is doing for others, he's doing for me and more. Or I'll say, what God is doing for me, he's doing for others and more.
mhm, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. Not mine, but not ChatGPT. I heard it somewhere. A book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I never liked competition at all, but I was not into sports.
Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the difference. Whereas in my school, I was like the least sporty. It was me and
Hmm.
another girl were the least sporty people.
Yeah.
And so not being involved in sports or in any teams where they had that kind of competition,
Yeah.
competition to me was like awful because I was always the bottom. So when they praised people for and I would see them as like the popular kids are the ones who do sports and the ones that are loud and people like me who were shy and insecure and not good at really anything in those days as a kid.
Hmm.
You know, if you're not good at generally like I would okay, writing was my thing. But subjects in general were not and sports was not. And so I was like, what am I good at? I'm not good at anything. But the things I've developed in life as an adult, I'm like, oh, but as a kid you don't see those. You don't know what those are.
Yeah.
So competition to me was just the worst because I was
Hmm.
just at the bottom. So I felt worthless for other reasons as well, but one of those was the competition thing.
I
Because
think
you never get number one or number two, or you're like the last always. Does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense. And I think does it happen more? I'm wondering, does it happen more with teenage girls? I feel like it might with competitiveness, obviously not just with sports, but in general. I don't know. I feel like it is. That may be a
I don't know. There was
prejudgment that's inaccurate.
there was one girl that I grew up. So I grew up in the Christian school. There was like 10 of us
Mm.
in the grade 8 graduating class.
Yeah.
And the one girl everybody loved. She was my friend, sort of, but like friends with everybody. Um, and all the boys loved her because she was sporty and she was this, and the teachers loved her. So it brings out this envy in you, like you were saying, the comparing. But I
Yeah.
didn't have that understanding because when it comes down to the competitiveness, but that can be a good thing. But when you don't see yourself as worthy, you
Hmm.
can start to compare. And I thought, well, she's got it made. Her parents raised like had, they knew how to raise them to have confidence. I didn't. They were sporty. They had this. She's friends with all, and the boys like her and all this. Like I'm not. So I would compare myself with her, like she's cool and I suck. And that, unless
Hmm.
you are able to start moving forward and believing in yourself and loving yourself, I
Right.
didn't. That actually kept me
Mm.
stuck for a long, long, long time.
Yeah. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah. So there again, if I had known more about like you are unique for who you are and you will see the skills that you have. You might not see them yet. I think that's can be hard for kids who don't have any skills that seem obvious as kids or that the schools promote.
I think parents should promote it too, and I don't know if they're remiss about doing that, but I think a lot of times parents are just busy being people too, right? And being a married couple and being mom and dad, obviously, and just trying to get through it themselves. They're trying to figure out themselves. You don't really know that till you've grown up and said, okay, this is what they're doing. Parents are people too, so a lot of that may come from that. But as you're speaking, I'm thinking about my childhood. We did a show on Black Sheep, right? And I said that I'm the apple that fell furthest from the tree. So there was a constant comparison, come to think of it, with folks, my brothers, those folks, and folks.
It sounds like an old
Unrelated.
person. Those
Feel very,
folks.
yeah, those folks. Okay. And so that was always there. And uh, what was really what sticks out as well is having a learning disability, growing up with ADHD before it was ADHD, whatever it was then, right? Hyperactive, dyslexia, and being in special education classes, and being one of the more popular kids, I guess, because I was playing in sports. Um, and you'll probably hear a lawnmower passing by. Did you hear that?
No.
That's really good. Or you're being really kind. Either way, an orange lawnmower just passed on the street. Crazy. But but for me, it was always like so I was kind of stuck in between two worlds, right? Um, not performing academically, but performing with sports, but still being like a pretty outgoing dude, and people liked me, and I like people. Um, but I always kind of hung out with the nerdier crowd. We had that talk before, but
Mm.
I come to think of it, it was a trap most of my life, this comparison thing, because I was really, I did it a lot in my younger years and even young adulthood, I think,
Yeah.
more of a trap.
One of the I heard one thing as a kid and it just I was so grateful for this because I remembered it a lot. But
Yeah.
they would talk about when you're running a race, the people who looked over at the person beside them, they have pictures of this. The person who
Mm,
looked over is the one who got second place. And they
wow.
said, don't look at what others are doing. Keep focused on your path. And
See?
so every time, and that can so easily happen, right? We see people doing what we want to be doing, or they look what, so and so lost weight. And I'm like, this used to happen to me a lot. I would lose weight and everyone around me was like eating and gaining weight. And then I would gain weight and they're all on diets losing weight. And I was like, why am I never on the same page as other people? I felt so alone.
You're
And then I'd
unique.
feel worse about myself because I was like, well, I gained weight after losing weight,
Mm,
right? So, but that can get you into this envy
yeah.
and you're comparing yourself with where other people are.
Yeah.
And it can get you off track, off your own path, and you can start getting stuck
Yeah,
in the
big time.
envy, which can lead to hatred, and you can, rah, 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 you can really start going down there.
Yeah,
Um,
you really can. It can get that way big time. I was like that, just growing up with my brothers. I was like, what the fuck? Like did I just curse? I think I did. But I was
quickly.
like, what the hell? Yeah, I was like I knew like especially in academics, like I knew the concepts of what the teacher was talking about. I knew how to get from point A to point B when it came to math. I knew the concept, but when I went to put pencil to paper, it's more than just a six turn into a nine, like numbers jump and numbers jump columns when you're reading, it jumps sentences. But I would get really frustrated and I would see someone right next to me being praised in class for the great work that they'd done. And I was never that guy, so it really burned my ass. And I was turned off at a very young age, right? From school. And then and I'd like to say that it never bothered me beyond that, but it actually did. And I think in a lot of ways it still does sometimes. Maybe when I'm doing a presentation or something. Um, I always seem to run into like a one-upper, right? I seem to attract them. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because I talk about it or because it bothers me. I'll say something and someone will take that point and they'll just expound on it and like, yeah, dude, like fall back. Yeah, I just said that. Um, so I think that's present too. I think that's there too.
One thing that whenever these moments come up for me, I recognize it as this could be a, oh, what's the right word for that? A blockage.
Block
Something
it.
within me that, oh, this is showing up. This keeps showing up. So, what you were saying, and that shows up for me constantly with comparing,
Mm,
it's what is within me that's really driving me crazy. It's not
right.
that really it comes down to it's not that this person is doing it, it's that I'm not doing it. And I'm feeling I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not okay with where I am. I'm not okay with myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm evaluating, all right, Steph, you're jealous because you wish that was you, but that's not, you are not that person. You are
Yeah.
you. So, okay. Recognizing all of these things as something to observe and look into myself.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay, so what I was saying is like when someone, say a husband, let's call him Jim, is in recovery, he's working on himself, and it's not just, the cessation of drinking, or it's not just he's no longer taking pills. It's he's working a program, right? And maybe going to therapy for the first time in his life, and he's working on character defects, and he's changing, right? And he's getting better and better and beyond better, right? It's not just I don't drink anymore or pop pills. But not only am I showing up for my kids and my family now, but I'm turning into this, amazing human being that knows how to communicate better because I speak to men every night at these these 12-step meetings, and I share. I'm open with my feelings with all these people. Meanwhile, Sally, the wife, who's held it together the whole time, has been begging him for years sometimes to open up, right? To maybe go to the gym with her and start working out to do things that are healthy. And he was caught up in that. So she feels very jealous of that. And there's a comparison there. So there's a lot of envy and bitterness sometimes that goes
Oh,
along.
yeah. I could
Did I freeze? Did
imagine.
I freeze
No,
during
no, not during that one. Thank you.
it?
Thank you
Or my
for
brain
resharing
froze.
that.
Mm,
Yeah. That's, and it's interesting when you have friends. There was a time, so I was in Toronto and I had roommates.
mm,
And this one roommate, we like to watch TV and get takeout, like KFC,
mm,
eat all the stuff. And
mm.
because that was fun. But I got a personal trainer. I was going to the gym. And this one day, and I had you know, I was eating healthier. Um,
Right.
and I came back from the gym one day and she goes, let's get KFC takeout and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, don't tempt me. I just had a good workout.
Yeah.
And the other roommate who was more health conscious, she said, "Why are you trying to mess up what Stephanie's trying to do?"
Sabotage, the saboteur. Yeah.
And I get it, right? Because if you see one of your friends getting healthier, it makes you feel bad about yourself if you're not. If you're,
Yeah.
because you want your friend to be doing the things that you're doing together so you don't feel as bad. So I
Right.
completely get it. I've had those moments too.
Yeah.
But is that really a friend who gets mad, who wants to sabotage your trying to be healthy? That's not a
I
friend.
think they can be a friend, but that act in and of itself is not very friendly, right? I think they can be your friend, they can love you, but they see you growing or doing something different and they're not ready for that. And they may love you and everything else in the friendship is going perfectly, but that one area they really struggle with. And they're just like, I just want things to be the way they are because I really enjoyed KFC on Sunday afternoons or whenever it was, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a lot different being the object that's being compared to or the person that's being compared to on that end of it instead of the other way around which because when I think about comparison I think about me comparing myself with that or them, right? As opposed to being the object of comparison. And it's a different dynamic. It really is. I have seen, unfortunately, people like have their recovery sabotaged by their significant other because of that. And do you have to go to a meeting every night because we need to spend some time together? And that's how it kind of starts that slippery slope, especially in like
Mm.
early recovery. So being the object of comparison is definitely different. Definitely
Uh,
different. Did
yeah.
you feel when that happened? I know the other roommate pointed it out, but did you feel that energy, like that person trying to sabotage me, or did you feel like they just want to hang out with their buddy and do what they normally do?
Well, this was not really a true friend
Mhm.
because there were other, yeah, no,
Mhm.
it was a lot about like she was wounded, right? But she would jab at me and say other things about me in front of other people, and so she wasn't really a friend.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but she wanted me to be what she wanted me to be, but that was actually how I had been for most people. I was always what other people wanted me to be. And
yeah.
I was easily manipulated. I was a people pleaser. So when I was doing what they liked, along with
Cool.
what they wanted, it was great. And when I didn't, they'd start getting mad and turn it around on me. And I'd start going, "Oh, I'm wrong. I'm bad."
Right.
So, but I did have some people in my life like that, not all of them. And that's where that was something that I wasn't aware of. And I didn't know how to set those boundaries because I didn't love myself.
Yeah,
So I did have those people around me. But, anyways, but yes, I get it too, right? Because, and it was nothing wrong with just having KFC once. But for
yeah.
me, that was a huge, if I start eating, it was just like, it was hard.
I'm kind
So,
of triggered right now, to be honest with you. I'm joking, but I mean, I'm kind of triggered because I haven't had KFC since forever ago.
oh,
And I think I heard on maybe one of the Sunday shows, someone was talking about it. And I could almost smell it then. I can almost smell it now too. I don't eat KFC. I haven't had it since again forever ago. But yeah. So thanks. Thanks.
yeah. So sorry. We're talking about that. But yeah, go have your KFC. It's fun.
Why not? Yeah, I'm thinking about like also like the when we're scrolling, right? We're on social media, we see all these ads that pop up, right? And like advertising is based on marketing, it's based on uh, you not having something, or you're trying to fulfill a need in your life, whether you really need it or not. And oftentimes they do that with people, but the Jones is in there, right? And you want what they have, right? And and if you don't have it, of course you don't feel great about it. So, hence you may try to buy it or get that. But what if you can't? What if you don't have the means to get that $75,000 SUV or whatever it might be, right? Fill in the blank. It becomes a thing, right? And then it makes us feel bad, I think, if we're comparing that way
And
on
we're
that
constantly
super.
stuck in that loop. And a lot of times you don't even know it. You don't know what it is. And that's one thing that you and I have talked about. When we know ourselves, sometimes I'll start comparing, and I can feel within me, I'm unhappy. I'm mad. I'm frustrated. I'm blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What's going on? Oh, I am looking at what other people are doing or what they have and I don't. And so that for me is the self-reflection is very important
Mhm. Yeah.
in knowing why, because we can have these emotions and there can be a variety of reasons for them, but when you start to recognize this is what it is, okay,
It's a game changer.
yeah, yeah,
Awareness is a game changer.
it really is. So what are
Sometimes you gotta just let it ride out too. If you're feeling a certain way, like allow yourself to maybe feel that way. Acknowledge it that it's happening, and then maybe go into you know, the fix it stage or flipping it. But I think sometimes it's good to let that energy dissipate for a little bit instead of just dismissing it because it's a true feeling, right? And it may have truly come. And although you don't like it, you don't want to hold on to it. I think it's just good practice to acknowledge and release, bless and release.
very, yeah, that's very true because there's for a lot of people there's just like think positive. Turn, just
Yeah.
don't do that. It's like, well, we're human beings. This is what life is. So you're going to feel these things and it's okay. It's fine. I'm really tired of this stuff online where you're not allowed to be a human. They want you to
Yeah.
little perfect robot. It's
Mm.
not real. But we can move forward and we have these tools and we have, if you want to move forward in growth and healing,
Yeah.
that's what will bring you to things. And yet, you're going to have a day, a moment, whatever, and it's okay. Feel it. Like, don't just, I get, and I think more and more people are talking about this. Um, but for a long time, it was like, don't feel like that. Don't think that way. But I'm human.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, I think that's a thing too. And you always talk about like we have to honor our feelings, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But I notice I keep coming back to recovery because it just keeps ringing in my ear, so to speak. Like in early recovery, people are starting to feel, and they haven't felt in a long time because they didn't have to feel, especially the negative stuff. And it's so easy to fall into what I see as a trap, like oversharing or feeling too much. And at some point, you got to say, all right, enough of that shit. Just you got to get back to work, dude, or lady. You got to be a mom again. I acknowledge this. I get it that it's the first time in your life you've ever been able to be open and honest with people and express your feelings. But the honeymoon is over. You can keep those. They're useful, but now they're using you because you're allowing that to kind of take over in an obsessive, compulsive type of way.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does.
You now become addicted to feeling and reacting and expressing, right?
Mm.
Um, and that's not always healthy.
And yet, I will put a caveat to that as well because
Hit it.
when you're healing,
Caveat.
uh, you're going to have kind of a reaction and go to the extreme side a little bit. And some
Mm,
people stay stuck there.
yeah.
But I know for me, um, for a lot of stuff, like I started getting angry as I learned stuff. And then people were telling me, don't be angry. And I know that they were concerned I was going to stay angry. And I actually came through it quite quickly
Good.
in the matter of how many other people I've seen did not. Um,
Yeah.
and yet I was in that stage. And it was like not very helpful for people to just talk at me all the time. So I don't do that. That's where I was. And I feel like we do go from like, if we're over here, we go like to the other extreme for a little bit. Um,
Angela.
but like you're saying, like we want to come to this, like, you don't want to stay stuck there because that's
Mhm.
not going to move you forward in good ways. But
Yeah.
we're almost coming to the end. Did you have any, like, what kind of tools do you use when you start comparing? Is there anything you want to share? Anything else?
I feel like there may be, but I just think what I just utilize is like when I get that gut feeling that I'm comparing, I right away I just shift. I get up, I get movement. It always works really well for me. But I allow myself again to feel it, notice it, and then I keep it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that also just like deep breathing, taking a second, like you
Yeah.
go for a walk or
Definitely.
anything that helps you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then
Breathing really helps me.
yeah,
Big time.
and I know not everyone is at this place, but for me, because
Mhm.
when I can see where I was 5 years ago, 10
Mm.
years ago, 20 years ago, I'm like, wow, I am here. And so if I compare myself with somebody else's journey,
Mhm.
oh, well, they did this at age 25. I'm 45. Oh, I didn't do that at age 25. I was doing the best I can with what I have.
Yeah.
And still, right? Like I'm still on this journey. And so I'm not where other people are my age. Okay. But I'm where I am and like accepting where I am and moving forward into continuing on, building that resilience, keep going. And that I always have to come back to that for myself.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So, yeah. Well,
Well
thank you,
said.
Peter.
You got a thing for that one. Well, this has been great. And Stephanie, I really appreciate you. And yeah, I'll see you next week, I guess, right?
Yeah, I appreciate you too, Peter. And
Thank
thank
you
you guys for watching and listening
for
to
watching,
us
guys.
talk.
Take care.
Bye.